Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Matthew from Parents' Choice Tutoring, and today I'm going to be talking about a whole lot of teaching because that's what a lot of parents think is what their kids need. Well, let me break a few misconceptions here because you really need a lot less teaching than you think. I mean, look, if you went to a public school like I did, you sat in those desks. And our idea of education is influenced from our years in these group-based class settings. You spent 6 hours a day in that desk for 5 days a week for about 13 years? And that's what influenced our ideas about education. So we think, well, now I got a kid and I want to homeschool, or I want to put my kid in a learning pod or a micro school or something. And so that's what my kid needs, right? That much teaching? No. Let's rethink this for a minute. Because no, your child doesn't need that much teaching. Let's have a look here. Paced, group-based education is both too fast and too slow for students. And what I mean by that is that while you in a group-based classroom, you often have at least a couple kids, and if maybe more than a couple, who just can't get it. They're not getting the material very well, and they're constantly trying to catch up. They're constantly struggling trying to understand the material, and they're always falling behind no matter what you do. And then in that same classroom, you also often have some students who are completely bored. Why? Because they either came in knowing the material already, or they understood it immediately, and now they're just waiting for the next lesson that they already understand. And they're dejected and they're upset because they already get it, and what they really need to be learning is something on their level, and the classroom isn't providing that. The classroom is not providing for the kids going too fast, and it's not providing for the kids that are going too slow, at least too slow or too fast based on what the classroom is offering. And you see, cookie cutter learning rarely produces the ideal results. And it sets a precedent for an idea of learning that somebody else has to tell you what to learn and when to learn it and in what time. And it's all messed up. That's not how education really works or is supposed to work. So if you think you need 6 hours of learning a day, think again. Because when you enter the mode of individualized learning, that's a whole new ball game. And that's what I offer. You see here, the focus of individualized learning is strengths and needs. What does that mean? That means that if a child's in second grade and that child is ready to learn algebra, there is nothing at all that should be getting in the way of that kid learning algebra. Now, true, there may not be many of them, but if a kid can learn algebra, and that kid is 8 years old, and I have a kid who is 8 years old who is learning algebra right now, there's nothing that should stand in the way of that. Consequently, on the other end of the spectrum, if you have a child in 7th grade who never really learned properly how to do long division, then we as educators should be teaching that child that skill to catch up. And we need to be doing that in a dignified way, in a way that's respectful, in a way that's non-judgmental. Instead of saying, how could you not learn that? You say, what happened? What happened? Did the teacher just not teach you right? And that's the thing. Because if a teacher is not teaching a child the proper skills when the child's in the classroom, it's the teacher's fault. It's not the kid's fault. Because it's the teacher who's the boss. The teacher needs to make sure that kid gets it. And unfortunately, a lot of kids fall through the cracks. This is my personal philosophy. Because when you teach children in an individualized manner, it is dignified. You're finally telling the child, look, it isn't your fault that you didn't learn this. You need to be respectful. And as a consequence, learning accelerates. The kid who couldn't seem to learn in school suddenly starts doing better. In fact, a lot better. Instead of 6 hours of learning a day, the kid's learning faster with 1 hour a week. I know it's quite a boast, but I've seen it happen. And I've seen kids jump a couple of years' worth in 1 year using this approach. 6 hours a day? No. You'd be surprised how much teaching I can stuff in one class a week, one simple 1 hour class a week. I wouldn't make that boast if I wasn't able to do it. Interested? My name is Mr. Matthew. I run a business called Parents' Choice Tutoring. I bring results. 480-382-9595. Matthew at parentschoicetutoring.com. You can find me on Facebook at Parents' Choice Tutoring. When I got kids saying, Mr. Matthew, we learned more in 1 hour of your class than we do in 2 weeks of a class in school, you know your kid has found the right learning environment. Education that fits.